Just a really fun, exciting night in Galen. I really appreciate about this team that every time I come with a message, whether it's positive or encouraging or a little bit harsh, they want to look at me and take the message and try to do exactly what we're asking to do. And sometimes you really see the results of that. And I thought tonight we kept our foot on the gas defensively. We tried to really compete against the details of the game. We pushed the ball, we moved the ball, we shot it well. So I'm happy for our players to see the ball go in because I knew, we're a good shooting team and we'd heat up a little bit. And it was just a fun night and just a ton of gratitude for the fans here, the team that we have, all the assistant coaches I have here and in the past, because just made for a really special night all the way around.
David.
For Kennedy, you have a really big front line there with yourself, Rhea, and Kiki. Just kind of, with all three of you, you coming in as a freshman, her, Kiki as a transfer, Rhea being here, just kind of, what's that chemistry been like between the three of you, out in the front court there so far?
It's been good. I think we all have the common goal of keeping the main thing, so it's been easier. We all have that competitive nature in us, so it comes easy. Even since the summer, everybody's had a good chemistry, and it's been good so far.
Coach, congratulations on your 300th career victory. When you consider or when you reminisce from where you started to where you are now, what have you learned throughout this process of being a head coach?
Throughout my entire career. Yeah, there's not enough time. I mean, you're learning a lesson every day. You try to evolve with the times basketball wise. I think the main thing for me has been I'm a big reader and I'm a big studier, and you try and study and learn from other people, but at the same time you have to have a confidence in what makes you authentically you. I wouldn't be a good version of somebody else, and so I think what I've learned over time is to have the humility to check yourself and see where can I be better, but at the same time the confidence to go with your gut at times. And probably the thing I've done better than anything is hire really good people and bring in players that believe in what we're trying to do and let them be themselves as I try and get them to where we want to be as a team.
Go ahead.
That's a question for Candy. You got 5 steals tonight. Can you talk about just your defensive ability, and then what about coach that allows you to be free? On defense and offense as well to play defensive versatility.
I take pride in my defense. I literally love defense. That's why me and Coach B get along so well. But I just take pride in it. When I'm playing defense, I just don't want anybody to score on me. That's my mentality, that dog mentality. And Coach Lindsay has trusted me and the rest of the team, obviously, to just do the right thing. And I think that her implementing that in me has made me play more free throughout the season. And
Second row, and then Henry. Yeah, right there.
Coach, there have been so many changes, obviously, joining the Big Ten, a lot of new teams that you'll be, challenged against, and a lot of transfers, what have you. Are you as far along as you'd like to be 3 games into the season, and in what ways do you want some improvements to happen along the way here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't think we're where we ultimately want to be, but for 3 games in, I think we've made a lot of improvements, over even just coming back from Paris. I thought that game taught us a ton of lessons. It was really good for us to play a tough early game against a really good team, and particularly a really difficult team to face defensively. But we have a lot of new players, right? We have 2 grad transfers who are incredibly talented and smart and cerebral, but they played 3 or 4 years in other winning programs. And so to get them to kind of, get chemistry with what we're trying to do, and new freshmen and freshmen becoming sophomores, it's new for everybody. And so I would hope that our trajectory continues to go up and that we aren't, a finished product yet. And that's the fun part, to try and get where we want to be. But I'm certainly pleased with how we approach practice, how we try to get better. And, we're not satisfied. We'll try to be better tomorrow, but I like the trajectory and hope that continues.
Henry.
Coach, you guys went smaller at times, especially in the first half. Was that a reaction to them throwing out some smaller lineups, or is that something you're trying to work on with the new squad, especially just to get reps on early in the season?
Yeah, it wasn't reactionary to them at all. I mean, as you mentioned, we have really big guards, right? Like TVO, Ken, Ju, Avery Howell. So we think it gives us a versatility to sometimes play more 4-guard lineups that don't necessarily look like 4-guard lineups, because some of our guards are as big as posts. and we want to continue to work on that. And sometimes we'll go really, really big, and we can have Rhea and Kiki or Clarice and Rhea. So just that versatility is part of who we are, and tonight was a good chance to work on some of those lineups.
Coach, putting it mildly is saying you guys had a big night shooting, shooting nearly 50% from three, including both the players next to you going 50% from the field. What's that been like, having a big night shooting, and, how fun is it to see, all those threes being made?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been worried for a second because I see them in practice, right? Like TVO is a great 3-point shooter, and Avery and Heckle and Kent, like we make shots, and so more so I think for them, like I know how it feels when you're a player and you're competitive and you have high standards for yourself, you want to see the ball go through the basket. So it was exciting, that a team kind of played a sagging defense on us, and the right play was to shoot threes. I thought we generated a lot of good threes the other night, we just didn't make them, and so it's always more fun when they go in, but more so for me it was allowing them, I think, to take a breath and know, that the ball is going to go in the basket and keep just making the right play, over and over. But it's always more fun when you make threes.
Ladies, you guys pretty much set out the fourth quarter with the bench play. Talk about how the bench, the confidence that you saw with seeing your teammates getting the opportunity to play the last quarter, and what was it that you felt that they did well?
Yeah, I think it was great to see them get some minutes. We have a really talented bench, and I think our depth is something that separates us from other good teams. But yeah, we have players that would be playing a lot of minutes anywhere else, but they really bought into their role, and they pushed us in practice, and so it was really cool to see them get in. And obviously they played great as well, and it didn't look like it was our bench out there. Obviously 56 bench points, that's pretty crazy. So it was really cool, so happy for them.
Right there, David, and then Daniel.
Talia, excuse me, Talia. Talia, excuse me. You
Yeah.
guys had 28 steals today. Can you just talk to me about the tone that you and Juju set, or not the two of you, but can you talk to me about the defensive mentality coming into every game? The last game you guys won by over 50 points. Tonight, same thing. Can you just talk to me about the defensive mentality that you guys are trying to set?
Yeah, I think obviously the goal is to be disruptive, and that's something that we talk about a lot and we preach. So just being in the gaps, and I think, like you said, our starting lineup does a great job of setting the tone for that in the first quarter. So yeah, just being as disruptive as we can and getting deflections. Kennedy and Drew are as good as it gets at that, just getting their hands on the ball, and then just making plays. So it allows us to play in transition and get our offense going. So I think we did a great job of that today.
David.
For Coach, kind of a two-part here. When you have games like tonight and then last weekend, is there a tendency at all maybe to, because you said you feel like you're not exactly where you need to be yet? Is there maybe a tendency at all to kind of let up a little bit? And if so, just kind of how do you kind of keep the focus? And then as you mentioned, to start with Ole Miss, the game that you had to start the season. Is that kind of a good reminder, I guess, to going forward that, hey, that the schedule eventually is going to get tougher?
Yes, I think you just have to have a pulse on the team and what you need to say when. And I'm very transparent with the messaging. I thought the other day, while we did a lot of really good things against Cal Poly, I do think we let up at times. I thought, we just weren't as foot on the gas as we wanted to be with things that maybe don't show up on the stat sheet. And so that's what we talked about, and that's why I was really pleased tonight. I thought we made a big improvement there. We obviously take one game at a time, but I told him today, one thing I really learned in the NBA is sometimes you have to improve through games, not just through practice. And how do you stay committed in games? How do you play through missed shots? How do you get back, on defense and still get a stop when you're tired? And so that was an area of focus. And we also know what's coming. We're not overlooking Friday's game at all, but we know we have Notre Dame coming in, and we know we have non-conference games that are tough, but more so we're just competing against, excellence and the details of the game. And so the more I say that, I do think they really buy into it. It's not easy all the time. We're not perfect at it, but if we keep saying that, I think they understand what our goals are and that we can't just be satisfied to win team against where we have superior talent. It's that we have to also be playing the right way and be playing at the highest level we can.
Daniel.
Going back to the bench unit, Kaylee Heckle led you guys with 14 off the bench. For Kennedy and Talia, I was wondering what your early impressions of her are as a teammate and how you think she's grown through the first few games of the season.
Yeah, I think obviously she's super talented, and it's not easy to play the point guard position as a freshman, but I think she handles it very well, and she's getting more and more vocal every day, so it's great to see from her, but obviously just very quick, bouncy, and she brings a spark for us off the bench, really gets into people on defense, so I think it's super cool to see how well she's doing, and been shooting the ball great too, so she's only going to get better from here. I've played with Kaylee and against her in high school and stuff like that, and I've played with her in the summer for USA, so I've seen the transition from there to now. It's been really good. I think she's really growing as a point guard and learning from TVO as a senior right now, and I'm just really proud of her and how she's like handling criticism and obviously getting better. So.
Last question, Henry.
Coach, Juju had 9 assists tonight. That's a career high, I think. Is that something you're pushing her to do, is to distribute the ball more, or do you think it's just coming naturally within the flow of the offense?
Yeah, I think it's coming naturally. I mean, I talk with her just making the right play over and over and over. I think we know what a scorer she is. But I think that she understands how much talent we have on the team, and that to be at our best, like everyone, we just have to make the right play. And tonight they were really packed in the paint and dared us to spray it to shooters, and we did that. We knocked down shots, which means someone else was going to watch this film and go, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And then maybe there's a game in which she shoots it 10 times in a row. To me, I think all of us have a trust with everyone that we go to our strengths, and then from there we make a read on what it looks like. So I do think she's come back this season even more complete player. I think the game has slowed down, and so we've seen a lot of really great passing days from her in practice, but I just encourage her to make the right play over and over.